Wanted to move on to this topic as well. Can Baker win MVP? Says Bucs Spaceman. Nope, because he's not a high-profile candidate. Could he be in the convo? Yes, but he's not a realistic choice. Unfortunately, I'd say he's top 10, but not top 5 quarterback. Interesting to note. Our good friends at Joe Bucks Fan wrote this the other day, and this they were picking up on an article written by Bucky Brooks, very popular at NFL.com, who was tackling the topic: could Mayfield win an MVP? Current odds to win the MVP plus 4,000 for Baker Mayfield. I'm going to take a little bit of that action, by the way. He says if Mayfield matches his 2024 numbers, 71.4% completion rate, 4,500 passing yards, and 41 touchdowns, and the Buccaneers win the NFC South for a 5th year in a row, I won't be surprised that the former number 1 overall pick rises to the top of the MVP conversation. This offseason, Tampa Bay added another talented pass catcher, Ibuka, to a stellar supporting cast that features a pair of rugged Pro Bowlers, Evans and Godwin, with exceptional ball skills and playmaking ability. Bucky Irving commanding attention as a big play specialist in the backfield. Mayfield can rack up impressive production, directing an explosive offense built on low-risk throws to a collection of dynamic weapons. With the Bucs climbing the ranks as a dark horse contender, Mayfield could ride off with the league's top honor at season's end. That's from Bucky Brooks. All that sounds right to me. And those numbers that Baker put up last year were exceptional. They were exceptional. Could he do it again? Chances are 41 touchdown passes 2 years in a row, although he's been high 30s, 40s 2 years in a row. What did he have the year before? 36? I think it was 35, 36.
28 the year before.
The year just 28? Wow.
28.
40 is going to be tough to get 2 years in a row, especially with a ground game as good as they have.
Listen, I don't think it's realistic, and part of this is that I don't think he's going to have the PR on his side to win it, because the names who are going to be involved in this stuff is always. I mean, Josh Allen's going to do something. He's going to have gaudy statistics, both with his arm and with his legs. Ditto for Lamar Jackson. If Jaden Daniels continues his ascension, he's certainly going to be a part of the conversation. Last year, Jamar Chase just put up like an unreal season. He was a part of the conversation. I think Jared Goff actually finished 4th in MVP voting. And that's what I went to look at this morning was, where did Baker finish last year in MVP voting with the season that he put up with the 71% completion, 4,500 yards, and 41
Only
touchdowns?
4 guys have ever done that before.
Yeah, and he finished 11th. He even actually finished behind Mahomes finished 6th, which is basically because he's Patrick Mahomes. He did not have an MVP caliber regular season. We know that.
His numbers weren't even close to Baker.
Justin Herbert finished 9th. Sam Darnold finished 10th, and Baker finished 11th. So Baker just had that season, and he finished 11th. And I got to be honest, as much as I love Baker, I don't know if it's realistic to expect going forward that this is going to be the norm for him. I mean, you have to be honest with ourselves. Baker Mayfield last year completed 71% of his passes. His career average is still 63.5. Like this was a huge jump from that one metric for Baker Mayfield. The 41 touchdowns, his career high before that was the 28 the year prior. The 4,500 yards that he threw for was a career high, topping the 4,044 he threw the year before that. So, and you had an all-world play caller and Liam Cohen, obviously steering the ship and everything, and Baker still made the throws, of course. I'm not diminishing Baker's season whatsoever. I'm just curious, is last year the norm that we can expect from Baker Mayfield, or is he going to find some sort of happy medium, hopefully, between what he was in 2023 and in 2024? And does that spell MVP to me? I would probably say it does not. But that's nothing against Baker Mayfield. That's not a knock or anything. But if we're just strictly asking, can Baker Mayfield win the MVP award, I would lean no.
I mean, the fact that he was 11th last year is a freaking joke. I mean, how is that even possible? And some of the guys that you said ahead of him, I mean, are you effing kidding me? Like, it's weird because those are not joke numbers. I mean, it's not like he put up those numbers with a non-winning team, like he's just padding his stats in blowouts. were
Yeah.
having to come from. I mean,
If
the team won 10 games last year. They won the division.
I'm looking at the voting last year and those just focusing in on those 11 because those are the 11 that received some sort of votes. Okay. I probably would have had Baker in the 6 or 7 range. I wouldn't have voted him over Josh Allen, Lamar, Saquon, Burrow. And I would have had Jaden Daniels above him too. And I probably would have had Baker right after that. So I probably would have had him around 6. I think Jaden, if you're looking most valuable to your team, I don't think you can argue Jaden Daniels was more valuable to his team for what he did.
Well, you can always argue about what that means, but again, this was not a very good defensive team last year, the Buccaneers. Very average, well below average in passing defense, 29th. They were, and if you watch the games, Baker was critical in so many ways to making big plays on third down. They were 50%, 50.6%, led the league in third down conversion. And a lot of those were Baker Mayfield runs and the energy that he gave his team. I mean, I know I'm completely biased here, but I'm also more informed because I think 95% of those MVP voters never watched an entire Buccaneers game. Not one.
Oh, they probably watched the ones that were on primetime. Yeah. The Bucs didn't play well in the primetime one.
Yeah, right. I mean, I watched every single play probably 4 to 5 times. I watched the Lions win and the Redskins loss this past weekend because it was one of those weekends on Saturday. I just watched some Bucs football. You can go on YouTube and watch the game in an hour and a half. And that Redskins game especially. In fact, I wrote some notes down about that. I want to talk a little bit more about it because I think it's very instructive about this team moving forward because the Redskins are going to be one of those teams. That's right, I said Redskins. One of those teams that are going to be in the mix for a couple of years to come. I think very much so in the NFC. So we got to get over that hump, so to speak. And but go watch Baker Mayfield on 3rd and 9. Run over 4 guys to get a first down. Go watch him on 3rd and 17 run through 2 more guys to get a first down. Go watch him make big throw after big throw on 3rd and 4th down in tight windows. I mean, Baker Mayfield drives this offense. And I know people, Grizzard was the architect of 3rd down. You know who was the architect of 3rd down? Baker effing Mayfield. That's who the architect of 3rd down was. And not to take away from Josh Grizzard. That's good. Having those packages, but I'm telling you, Baker Mayfield's changing the play at the line of scrimmage most of the time. And in big situations, he would do that time and time again last year. So I think,
I mean, the mere fact though that we're even talking about Baker Mayfield, the fact that we're at the point where after 2 seasons of watching Baker Mayfield, we're asking, can he win the MVP? I mean,
unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. Crazy. It's crazy we're even asking that question, to be honest.
But he's earned that.
Yeah, he actually has earned it. The fact that even though I would have had him ranked higher in the MVP voting last year, the fact that he actually even finished 11th. If you would have told us anybody when they signed him for $4 million, hey, Baker Mayfield's going to finish 11th in MVP voting next year. Cool. Fantastic. It worked. And I think that's the overarching point here is the fact that we're talking about this tells you that the Buccaneers have, I think, absolutely have found their franchise quarterback. But even in general, it's not just Baker, but is it possible for a Tampa Bay Buccaneer to even win the MVP at this point? Because, I mean, I think somebody had commented it too. If Tom Brady, the season he had in 2021, couldn't give him the MVP, it's fair to question, and that's Tom Brady. It's fair to question if there's anything a Buccaneer can do to win the MVP.
Yeah, as Bucs Mason said, the Saints game ruined MVP candidacy for Brady. I mean, you can say that, and I think that's true, but that's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. When did Buffalo become such a great market that Josh Allen's got to be up there? Although, look, he's earned it too. He's earned it. It's consistently been great. But I'll say something about Lamar and Josh both. They're getting a little longer in the tooth, and there comes a time.
Hold on. Josh Allen is 29. Baker's older than him.
Yeah, and how many years has he been running the ball? 100 times a season? What's he in his 8th year?
I don't think I don't think he's falling off. It's also part of this too. This is MVP voting across the board. We saw this in the NHL, obviously, and we talked about Nikita Kucherov, Nathan McKinnon. There's always a year where if like 3 or 4 players have identical numbers or whatever, they tend to lean towards, okay, well, who doesn't have one yet? And who deserves their MVP yet now? You know what I mean? And I feel like this year, I think the groundswell is probably going to be around Joe Burrow. The same way last year, the groundswell was around Josh Allen, because a lot of people felt Lamar Jackson should have won the MVP last year. They gave it to Josh Allen. I think it's because it was like, okay, this is Josh's time. I think this year people are going to go, okay, it's Joe Burrow's time. I think that's what's going to end up happening, and there's always going to be someone next before you even think about Baker Mayfield's name.
Well, I'm going to tell you this, though. If the Bucs go out and win 13 games and he puts up those numbers, he's going to be in the MVP conversation.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Winning 9 games or winning 10 games is a lot different than winning 12, 13, and 14 like these other quarterbacks.
Exactly, and I think that's a big part of it. I do. And that's going to take better game management, among other things. It's going to take better defense, especially in pass defense late in the games. By the way, we're going back and watching that Redskins game. Oh, just chunk yardage after chunk yardage in the passing game. Wide open guys in the end zone. Jesus criminy. You remember how bad the pass defense was when you go back and watch that game. It was bad.
I don't think I want to go back.
Really bad.
I don't want to watch it.
No, you need to watch it.
I don't think I need to. I kind of would like to just turn the page on that completely.
No, you need to watch it. Because we're all so bullish on the Buccaneers, and you got to remember why they didn't advance last year. And it's because of that pass defense. It was awful. It was awful. And the game management in that game was awful. Terrible.
Yeah, but, everybody wants to focus in on a botched snap at the wrong time, though, right?
Right, exactly. I mean, Jiminy Christmas. The chunk yardage on key plays on 3rd and 4th down had nothing to do with it. But, yeah. And again, I mean, they weren't shy on going forward on 4th down, but the Bucs certainly were.
Speaking of that, by the way, because I think it's part of this discussion. I know it came out on Friday, so I know you probably talked about it on Friday. But with the contracts extensions and everything with Leicht and Bowles, I don't think we really need to talk about Jason Licht getting a contract extension. I mean, that was obvious. Would you have?
Go ahead, say it. Go ahead, say it.
I don't want to, but would it have been better to? I don't know. I see it from both sides. Like, you let the season play out and see what happens and go from there with Todd Bowles. But at the end of the day,
you can't do that.
You can't do that necessarily. And he doesn't want to have that behind thinking of that. He wants to have the security at least. I don't think it necessarily takes him completely off the hot seat, to be honest with you.
No, of course not.
I don't think that's what it does. But I don't know. I guess if you're going to give Licht an extension, you give Bowles an extension. But
here's the thing. Here's what I said on Friday. I'll repeat this. This is the Glazers being smart and being good owners. And it was Tim had a great perspective on it, obviously, because he covers the Cowboys, and he recounted all. He said the fact that McCarthy didn't have a contract extension was a constant talking point all year long in every press conference, every get up, everybody was talking about it. Right? And it turned out to be that was an issue. That was an issue. And why did Jerry Jones not sign? Because he wasn't sure about him moving forward. Well, you know what? You think the Bucs are cocksure about Todd Bowles moving forward? No, they're not. But they're willing to eat the contract if they have to fire him. I don't think Jerry was willing to do that. And so this is good ownership taking care of an issue. So it's not an issue. And maybe having to eat some money down the road. Now, if this team goes 8-9 and the Falcons win the division and beat us twice with this roster and there's no significant injuries, I'm talking about Baker Mayfield, Tristan Wirfs, a bunch of, rash of injuries, then do you think Todd Bowles is going to survive that? No way.
No way. I still think, regardless of the contract extension and however long security it gave him or anything, the money, I still will maintain that Todd Bowles and the Buccaneers in general, it's not just Todd Bowles, but he's obviously the head coach, they have to go further in the playoffs this year. There's no excuses about it. If they have another first-year exit or if they miss the playoffs, and maybe part of the reason why, again, is because of a porous pass defense, I mean, we're not going to stop talking about it and talking about his future. I hope it doesn't come to that. I think me and you both have always said we love Todd Bowles as a person, and we see
100%.
the value in the fact that, you know, at times the last couple of years when things have gone sideways for this team, the locker room never did. And
Nope.
a lot of that could be attributed to Todd Bowles and him keeping everybody together. He's got the respect of that locker room, and that stuff matters.
100%. It really
I
does.
don't want to downgrade that whatsoever. But at the end of the day, they have to win more. They have to win a playoff game, I think, at least. I think that, and I don't think that's asking for too much when you look at this roster.
And I mentioned that Redskins game because you think the Glazers and Jason Light were happy with the fact that they lost a home playoff game to a rookie quarterback who toasted them and constantly wide receivers running all over the field.
Yeah, the same issues that plagued them.
Yeah, same game management. You think they can honestly say, now are they going to say anything publicly? No. You think they're honestly happy about that? And I'm not saying that's all on Todd Bowles. I'm not saying that at all. It's not all on him. There were plenty of mistakes to go around. But if you're being honest, and again, I've said this many times, 2 years ago, if they lose that game to the Carolina Panthers that they won 9-0 on the last game of the season, if they lose that game, I think Todd Bowles would have gotten fired. If they didn't make the playoffs last year, I think there's a pretty good chance that Todd Bowles would have got fired. And that was close.
There were various points.
They were an Anthony Nelson strip away from not being in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So, and that's not to denigrate. I'm not saying Todd Bowles should be fired. No. He brings a lot of good stuff to the table, and who else are you going to bring in? You're not making your team better by just changing the head coach. You're not.
I just feel like
you do better, but
yeah, with the end of the day, with Todd Bowles as your head coach, you know, you're just never I shouldn't say never, because there's certain times where he absolutely puts on a defensive masterpiece of a game plan, and the players go out and execute it. But more often than not, with Todd Bowles as your head coach, you're not going to outcoach the other team. I think that's a fair statement to make. You're gonna win it in a completely different way, where you're not gonna go, man, they won that game today because of Todd Bowles did this or Todd Bowles did that. More often than not, that's not going to be a case, and that's fine. I mean, the Buccaneers have won games while he's been here, but I'm just thinking big picture, and I always come back to that question: can you see the Buccaneers winning a Super Bowl and Todd Bowles being the head coach? That's always going to be the question. And right now, you know, I can't even say like they've won one playoff game with him. Like that's it. That's all you have to go off of. So how can we even talk about Super Bowl yet with him?
No, I agree. And all you can do is say, let's get better at game management. Okay, we're hired a game management full-time guy. Okay, good. Let's get better defensively. Okay, we've used the 2 of our top 3 picks on corners. Okay, we invested a free agent in the best pass rushing option that was out there. So if you're Jason Light, you went, okay, here you go. Now fix this thing. You should not be 29th in pass defense. Fix it. And if they don't, as much as we love Todd, this is a business. You're directing the defense. You're the passing. You're the guru of pass defense. I mean, it's not going to be good enough. Nope. And that's the way this league works. And Todd knows that. If I said to him, hey, you're going to go 8-9 and your defense is going to be 29th in pass defense again, you think you survive that? He'd probably go, no. We got to be better than that. We got to be way better than that. And I think they will be. I do. I really do. If they're not, I'll be surprised. I think they're going to be way better defensively, especially in pass defense.